Good afternoon, and welcome to Module 9 on mindfulness. Mindfulness is a way of being, it's a way of managing your mind and your heart that contribute to your well being. It's a way of intentionally slowing down and paying close non-judgmental attention to what is going on around you, not letting things slip by you, but really enjoying being in the present moment, being thankful for the present moment. What we are going to talk about today, a definition of mindfulness, why we should be doing it, all the good things that come from that. I'm going to share with you a personal story of the benefits that I think it brought to me, and then some ways to practice. So, a variety of ways. People tend to think of meditation as mindfulness. Mindfulness, as I mentioned, is a way of being. It's kind of a way of approaching the world. And meditation is a practice, is a way of doing that, and has a lot of great benefits in and of itself. But we'll talk about some other ways to be mindful just in your everyday life. If you're like me, when I started on my meditation journey, this was me, that kind of looking at your watch. Come on, come on, come on. I don't have all day for this. And it's really, really hard to slow down and let that be your pace. Let it be paying attention to details, being in the present moment, really listening when other people are talking to you, kind of listening to yourself, becoming more comfortable with your own thoughts and being able to recognize when those thoughts are getting away from you. So we'll go through a couple of things that you can start practicing right away, and then I do encourage you to start to think about a daily practice. But as would be appropriate to start a presentation on mindfulness, let's take a second and do a quick meditation. You probably are remembering that this is my favorite one, and we've done this one a couple of times before, but it'll just be a few deep breaths. You can close your eyes, you can leave them open, but just take a moment to breathe through this with me. In, out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release, present moment, wonderful moment. So that just helps us to get a little bit centered, kind of clear out some clutter. That's a really great meditation to do before taking a test or kind of any situation that might cause you anxiety, where deep breathing will help to calm your system, and then really being able to focus on the moment, being ready for the moment, appreciating the opportunity to have a present moment can all help you stay really focused in stressful situations. So, what exactly is mindfulness? Um, this is probably the most widely accepted and well-known specific definition of mindfulness, which is paying attention in a particular way on purpose in the present moment and non-judgmentally. So non-judgmentally can also be described as kind attention. So, not making any judgments, being curious and open about what's going on, but not jumping to conclusions, but really specifically and intentionally focus. There are now probably thousands of research studies and articles and evidence showing the multiple benefits of a mindfulness practice. So it enables us being mindful and being a skilled, experienced meditator helps you reframe situations so you can gain new perspective and look at situations from another person's perspective, or to kind of question and reframe the way that you might be viewing it with an open and curious mind. Um, Being able to step back. I love this quote: stop trying to calm the storm, calm yourself, and the storm will pass. So it's a perspective on stressful situations and the skills needed to manage your stress, because you are able to view the situation more objectively and without judgment, and you're able to impact your own response to it. So being able to take that mindful pause, and instead of immediately reacting, you can thoughtfully and intentionally respond to a situation, and that enables you to de-escalate any emotions that might be getting out of control, or kind of hijacking your system. It definitely increases self-awareness. If you've ever practiced meditation, you've got a front row seat to the comings and goings inside of your brain, kind of the thoughts that pop up and the crazy things that we think about, and our attention gets shifted and our attention spans tend to be very low. But when you're sitting, just quietly observing that, kind of letting your thoughts flow like a river that you're just watching going by, it really increases your self-awareness, enables you to get to know yourself really well. And it helps you to focus on the present. So what's happening right now? What can I appreciate and feel gratitude for in a present moment, but also kind of what can I control, what can I not control. I can control my own reaction to something, but not necessarily the situation, and kind of learning the difference between those two things. And then it helps to reduce negative and difficult emotions. So we talked quite a bit about that in the session on emotional intelligence and your ability to recognize and identify what's going on, being mindful and being really aware of what's going on within yourself, as well as kind of the situations around you, really enables you to approach a situation without losing control of your emotions. So it really does help you regulate your emotions and manage yourself, both the way you behave and the way that you feel. We've talked a little bit about resilience before, and we will again talk more about it. It's become very, very, very critical during the pandemic, and as we're coming out of the pandemic and trying to figure out how to navigate that. Resilience is that ability to bounce back and actually become better. So adapting and then learning how to thrive in the face of a challenge, in the face of adversity and new situations. And so buoyancy, it's that ability to continue to rise back up. And research shows that these are protective factors in terms of facing adversity and being able to be resilient. So mindfulness, emotion regulation, an optimistic mindset, and purpose and meaning. And so we'll talk about optimism and purpose in future sessions, and today focusing on mindfulness, but they all support each other. So mindfulness and the ability to just kind of be aware of what's going on around you and what's going on within you contributes to all of these other things and contributes to your ability to be resilient and also contributes to your well-being. So you may remember this quote, and I probably have said before that if there's one thing that you learn and remember and embody from learning about positive psychology, it's this. So it's mindfulness and emotion regulation. It's that space, that ability to take that pause where something's happened and you're not immediately triggered. You are in a state of mindfulness in the present moment, paying attention on purpose and non judgmentally that allows you to assess the situation and respond to that. So there's that pause, that super, super important ability to stop and think and kind of shift and rewire and then to choose your response. And that's where the power is. And a less elegant way to say that is mindfulness is the ability not to be yanked around by your own emotions. So I wanted to share really quickly a story of my journey with mindfulness and an occasion where the power of it was very, very apparent and I believe actually saved my life. And so I use the Headspace meditation app and I've been using it for a long time. So it tracks my time. So as of this morning, I have meditated almost coming up on 45,000 minutes in my lifetime. Um, I loved this quote this morning: mindfulness is less about changing the mind and more about changing perspective. And it's that ability to be aware of what's going on around you and have the perspective and the time and the ability to respond to it. This happened in October of 2020. My daughter was in the car with me and we were driving down a street we've driven down a million times. And I was crossing an intersection over Camelback, which is, I think, almost is 3 lanes of traffic in each direction. So it's a big intersection. I was crossing over it and I had the light. I was paying attention. I would go a little bit slower across there. I looked at the stoplight and saw that there were 9 seconds left on the pedestrian crosswalk. So I knew I had time to get through, and there was a lot of traffic, but I just saw kind of out of the corner of my eye this truck turning towards my car. And I don't, for anyone that's ever been in a car accident, there's this phenomenon where time seems to kind of stop and become really, really slow. And so if it was a matter of just maybe a second or two, but for me it seemed much longer. And in that moment, I kind of saw what was happening. And instead of panicking, was able to react to it, to brake, to kind of turn my car a little bit. And you can see from the picture that the truck barreled into the side of my car, but because I had the opportunity to react to it, I really do think it saved my life, because if it had been even a second later, the truck would have, crashed right into my door, my side of the car. As it was, I wasn't able to get out of that side. My daughter was with me. I turned towards her first, was my first reaction. My glasses had flown off. Pedestrians were yelling at us to get out of the car because there were fluids. And so I had 911 on the phone. I asked them to send an ambulance because I wasn't sure if we were okay. But it was just this really vivid moment of being completely aware of every single thing that was going on around me and being able to do the thing that I needed to do to make sure we were safe, without um, crumbling. And of course, I did later once we got home, completely, crumbled in a pile of tears and fear and anxiety and all of that. But it really was a powerful moment for me to see that this training that I'd been doing in meditation, in paying attention, in focusing, in this level of self awareness, just had this incredible, really life saving impact for me. So let's talk about how to actually do this. I'm going to show you a couple of different things that lengthen. So these are two practices that you can do in the immediate moment when you're feeling really, really anxious. And they're both super easy to remember. The second one, take five, is great for little kids because kids can remember it. So the first one is called box breathing, and this is actually the kind of breathing training that Navy SEALs do to kind of help them control their physiological responses to anxiety and fear and to be able to perform at high levels. So, box breathing is taking in, inhaling for 4 counts, holding that breath for 4 counts, exhaling for 4, and then holding again for 4. And you do that 3 or 4 times, and you'll feel your heart will stop pounding, your hands will not be as sweaty, and you'll feel more in control of yourself in a particular moment. It's a little bit hard at first. 4 is pretty long for an inhale or an exhale, but you can practice it and it's really, really helpful. The second one is take 5, where you just hold your hand up and you trace around your fingers. So trace your pinky, and that's an inhale, and then down the side is an exhale, and up again is an inhale. And so it helps you do 5 breaths, and that's enough to be calming. So that can be really helpful if you have little kids, and I know there's a couple people in the class that work with children, being able to help them do some deep breathing. The next exercise is called a body scan, and this is really just a way of being able to scan down through your body. Some people start at the top and go down, and some people start at the feet and go up, whichever one seems kind of comfortable to you, but it's just a way. I like to picture it of kind of like when you make a copy on a copy machine and you see the light goes back and forth. Picture that kind of light scanning down your body, and as it goes through your body, you're just checking in with each place along the way. If you start at the top, you can kind of scan down, release any tension in your eyebrows, in your nose, in your jaw, in your neck, just kind of feeling what's happening and slowly releasing a little bit. Many of us carry a lot of tension in our neck and our shoulders. So kind of scanning through there, checking in with your breath, down your arms and your fingers and your legs. So you can do it quickly or you can do it really slowly where it just connects your mind and your body and you're just checking in with what's going on with your body. So that's kind of a good one to stop and do a couple of times each day, especially if you sit at a desk. Moving on from individual practices is a daily practice. And this is highly, highly, highly recommended. And it's very hard to do at first. It took me a really long time to be able to do it. It's just like any other habit. If you are a daily exerciser, it's similar to that, to where it just needs to become a habit. If you can anchor it in some other habit, my morning ritual is to get up and drink a little cup of espresso and then do my meditation. And so it's a part of my day. I feel like if I forget to do it, I feel kind of funny throughout the day. Sometimes I meditate more than once a day, and you'll want to try out different variations and find the thing that really resonates with you. This is a snapshot of what my Headspace app looks like. It's discounted for students, so you can get it at a fairly reasonable yearly rate. And then Insight Timer is free. So it has this huge variety of different types of meditations. Some people really like guided meditations where you have someone's voice telling you, walking you through. Other people like to just time it and sit with themselves kind of quietly. You can also listen to calming meditative music. You can meditate before you go to bed. That can be really helpful. And then there are lots of guided meditations on specific topics. So you'll find for our practice, this module, that you'll be doing a gratitude meditation um, that has been shown to have long-lasting impact kind of through the day, makes you feel better. And then if you continue to do a meditation practice, the benefits just build. And this is a little bit more of a sophisticated meditation that can be incredibly amazing, or it can be really, really, really hard and challenging. It's called Loving Kindness. And so it's about directing love to yourself, and then your perspective kind of goes out from there. So you're closest to yourself. So you actually can say these phrases out loud, or you can listen to a guided meditation and say it in your head. But you start by saying them to yourself, and then you visualize someone who's special to you, and you offer these words to them. And then you take your perspective out a little bit further and think about someone you don't know them very well, but maybe you see them. So that's kind of a neutral person. So you go from, deep caring to someone who you don't really have a lot of emotions around. And then what can be really challenging is that the next step in this is to offer these words, offer these good wishes, and loving and kind words to someone you have difficulty with. So this is the part that can take a little bit of practice, but it can really transform the way you approach other people, the way you think about other people, when you're able to visualize offering kindness and love, safety, happiness, health, and ease to people you care about, and then someone you have difficulty with, that kind of humanizes them, and will enable you to view people differently. And then finally, to offer this to every living being. So to all people and to all living creatures, may you be safe, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you live with ease. So I invite you to do this practice. If you are comfortable saying it out loud, you can do that. You can find lots of different versions of this to meditate along with, but it can be really, really impactful. And then finally, meditation is not the only way to be mindful. You can be mindful in every activity that you do all day long. It's just a way of slowing down and taking the attention off yourself, particularly when you're listening, communicating, meeting with other people. So that kind of active listening that includes not just the words that you're hearing, but body language, and giving your undivided attention and listening with an open heart. So just being really mindful. If you know anyone that's really good at doing this to you, when someone's just fully paying attention to you, it's an amazing feeling. And it's a really huge gift that you can give to other people. And it also just helps relationships and collaboration and working together in every way. You can do mindful eating. Some people find in their attempts to lose weight that this can be really, really helpful where you really pay attention. You know, a lot of times we just sit down and eat without even thinking about it, but you pay attention and you give thanks and you think about not just the food itself, but the people that helped to grow it, helped to prepare it, helped to get it to you, kind of the whole chain of life in enabling you to get nutritious food and really using all of your senses when you eat. So slowly savoring the smells and the textures and the taste, putting your fork or your spoon down in between each bite. Again, it can be really challenging, but it can be an amazing experience and it enables you to be more in touch with what your body needs from eating and to not eat junk food and to not eat too much, and that it can be a really impactful practice. Mindful walking, you may have seen walking labyrinths where people can walk really slowly and kind of meditative patterns. That's just another way of meditating. You can do it moving. It's best if you can keep your eyes open. But if you're in a safe place, you can walk with your eyes closed as well. And then really being mindful, just again, in paying attention to what's going on around you and cultivating an appreciative mindset. So being able to pay attention and attending to the small details. So we've talked a lot about gratitude and positive emotions and our relationships. So being able to appreciate and be grateful for those things and sharing that with people, um, all can contribute to a mindful approach to the world. So that's it. I always love to end mindfulness with this quote, since I think you all know by now that I have a couple of kitties and they're masters at mindfulness and being in the moment and just kind of slowly appreciating everything that's around them. So I hope that you'll be able to start to practice. Remember that mindfulness and meditation is a practice. So nobody's ever good at it. And, you know, people meditate for years and years and still are not, there's no way of being perfect. It's just in what you need at the moment. So I hope you will embrace it and appreciate it.